Hello and welcome to another Arc Raiders loot guide video. In today's guide, we'll be talking about the buried city, and I'll be showing you two distinct routes that what I think will be very good at finding loot without any PvP action required. So let's get right into it. So right off the bat, the first two routes that we're going to mainly be prioritizing is the one where we spawn on the outskirts side and the one where we spawn on the highway tunnel side. These two routes, though they might look like they spawn on different sides of the map, pretty much always want to end up at the Old Town Hatch, with the outskirts side going from the station to the library to the garage to the Galleria to the little loot thing under the overpass to the Red Tower, Plaza Rosa, and Santa Monica houses, and finally the house behind the Old Town Hatch. And of course, on the other side, we're just going to go strictly Red Tower, the medical loot building in the Plaza Rosa, the Santa Maria houses, and we're going to go to the Old Town Hatch building. This route, more than anything, feels very passive. There really isn't much you have to worry about. And I will be talking a bit through some of the guide or through the actual runs themselves, but for the most part, I'm just going to let y'all watch them as you see fit, as really this map really does give you the exact guide without having to waste y'all's time with showing y'all some 30-minute video. But of course, they are here if you actually want to. But be welcome to pause, do whatever you got to do. This is going to be the best route, but we're going to start with the one that spawns on the western station, otherwise known as the outskirts side. So the main priority when we spawn on this side more than anything is the first thing we're going to be hitting is the Murano station, just simply because, which you'll see in a couple seconds, there is a little room that spawns on the other, kind of like in the middle of it. It has to be breached, which I know breaching might sketch people out because it makes a ton of noise, and I'll have to agree with you on that note. But I do think that this room, more than anything, feels kind of bugged, and bugged in a good way. It has three boxes in it. One of them is kind of a tube. The other two are breachable boxes. But the thing about this spot is it has very good loot, and more often than not, you're going to be able to find purples in this, which I do think I find on this run, and it is kind of out of the way. That's the whole purpose of this video more than anything, is we are kind of trying to pick a route that doesn't really prioritize the main stomping grounds. We are trying to pick things that really won't get us in too much trouble. And I think when you spawn on this side, if you actually get the luck of spawning even remotely close to this thing, I think running to this right off rip will be your easiest kind of way to get started off on this run. Now, when we actually kind of get past the breaching part and getting into what's actually in it, we are going to see that this run, more than anything, just kind of bleeds on the idea that we're going to be picking up as much blues and as much purples as possible. We are not really going to be picking up greens. I know to a lot of people that might be kind of like, why are we not picking up any greens? We are really more than anything trying to make money. Now, if you were looking for specific things, lootables for crafting or something like that, or your hideout, by all means, pick up what you need. But in my case, I'm trying to make money. We're thinking 30 to 100,000 per run if we can get that high, and we're going to prioritize the things that are worth the most money. So once we get done with the Murano station, we are simply going to run to the library. This is another point that I think has a lot of loot in it that is very uncontested. There's only 2 quests in this area, I believe. So, I mean, at this point in the kind of life cycle of Arc Raiders, you shouldn't really be running into too many people here because the areas that we're looting aren't really where the actual quest is, as the quest is more towards the center of the library itself. Now, the library has a ton of these containers that spawn all kinds of random junk. I'm, of course, prioritizing, like I said, blues, but I have seen the merchant's tape, or I guess it is a tape. His tape epic spawn trinket spawn here a couple times. That's worth 10k in itself, and I've got that. I even think I get it on this run. But we're going to be just looting everything we see on the first floor as far as a locker or anything that's simple to loot. No, we don't want to really be breaching things. We're trying to be as quick as possible. And more than anything, like I said, picking up blues, checking all these lockers because lockers have the best spawn rates for random junk. But more than that, I mean, the whole thing with the library is you're probably not going to be fighting somebody if you run to this thing off rip. And I don't honestly think I've gotten to any PvP fights here, except for if you're running nighttime, because let's be honest, at nighttime, everybody is playing kind of their own game of cat and mouse. During the day, though, I think people would not really prioritize the library. They're going to be going to the medical place, the hospital, or they're going to be going to the spaceport building. So I do think the library, if you're just running through the day, just kind of trying to make some money, we are going to prioritize this pretty much every time if we even spawn remotely close to it, as I do think the sheer amount of containers and lockers and other junk you have really is just the best way to get, well, realistically, you could fill up just by looting the library if it hasn't been touched. And while that is a nice addition to this loot run in itself, we're going to be talking about a couple more things after this. So at this point, all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to loot the last of the lockers. You're going to want to head up to the top floor, which has a couple lockers and a couple other things we can loot. But at that point, we are just going to be racing our way to the garage itself. Like I said, I'm not going to blabble for this for too long, as I really don't see a point in wasting y'all's time hearing me talk. And I really do think this run is best experienced if you just let me kind of honestly just watch it. I don't even see a point in me talking anymore. So honestly, I'm going to shut up for a little bit and let y'all enjoy the run. I will be back in a second though with an important point. But other than that, good luck on your runs. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I will not waste y'all's time talking, like I said. So, yeah, as always, hope y'all have a good rest of your day, good rest of your month, and a good rest of your year. And that's enough blabbing for today. Except for one more section, which you'll see in a second. All right, bye. Now, at this point in the raid is when I think it can get a little spicy. This room underneath the parking garage is pretty highly contested, and I do believe that if you don't get here first, you're really not losing out on much, but there can be a ton of stuff down here. There's a ton of breachable boxes, and there can pretty much always be a weapon box spawn either here or on top of the car to my right. Now, where this gets kind of spicy is this is also where I kind of like to pause and kind of dump out anything I don't like, be that green items or just things I really don't want, like random bandages, duct tape, stuff like that. Things that aren't worth the most amount of money, I'm probably going to be dropping them. Extra ammo, anything like that. But what I want to talk about more specifically is when we get into the Galleria itself. Now, the Galleria isn't a place that has a ton of what I would consider traditional loot. What it has instead is a ton of the plants that you can use to make the herbal bandages, which are really, in my honest opinion, some of the best healing items in the game for what it actually costs. Now, at this point in the run, I kind of get sketched because usually there's a turret right there above you. But all you're going to want to do when you come into here is you are either going to choose that I'm going to loot all of these plants, which of course you're going to be dodging these little roly-polies as you go. You're going to either choose, do I want to harvest all the great mulines? I can't talk now. To make the herbal bandage, which there's 41 each time you go in there. That makes 41 herbal bandages. If you just sell the plants by themselves, they're worth about 16k. But if you invest and put a little bit into actually making them into herbal bandages, this can be an easy 50k. Now, like I said, this is where it gets kind of really your choice. I do think the choice of just grabbing the plants, as they'll only take up 3 spaces, isn't terrible, but at 15k value wise, I really don't think they're worth it if you don't turn them into herbal bandages. But continue on to the run, of course. The next thing is a spot that I think is also highly contested. This is a spot that more than anything I have been killed at multiple times, maybe like 2 or 3 in the past week or so, which by my estimations as far as being a safe spot is a little sketchy. But I actually do think this spot has one of the greatest drawer loots in the game as far as like what it actually spawns. And I'm sure like any other YouTuber that's worth his salt, this thing has probably been posted a couple times, but it is unmarked. And sometimes when you're just kind of walking around the map, the unmarked things are the best. But all you're going to want to do when you go from the Galleria is you're going to simply want to drop under this broken underpass right here. You're going to see this conspicuous looking drawer in this set of kind of, I guess you could say, just like storage containers. This one is always loaded with 6 pieces of loot, if not more sometimes. And it usually spawns a good amount of blues as far as some other things as well. But like I said, I'm not going to do any more talking. There really isn't any much more to talk about. This spot is one that I think is either totally looted, everything's gone, or it's going to be totally untouched. And it really is up to if you get spawned in late or if you spawn in just the normal time. From this point, though, you're going to want to head to the red tower and actually go inside it and loot. But in my second one, I do show a different alternate route to get this way. So make sure you stick around. I will be time-stamping both of them in the description. And like I said, I hope y'all have a good rest of your day, good rest of your month, and a good rest of your year for a second time. I don't think I've ever done a second time. But I just thought I'd have to include that bit of information about the herbal bandages as well. I mean, 50k is a decent amount of money for what amounts to very little work. So you can make that choice if you want to harvest the plants and just sell them for 15k, or if you want to make them into herbal bandages and sell them for 50k. Either way, up to you. It's a great place to spawn and kind of honestly just farm those plants, but hey, you do you. All right, that's it, I promise. Y'all are free to watch the rest of the video. The loot runs are both kind of similar in a way once we get to this point in the run, but they both do show the ways that you can run it when you spawn on either side. Like I said, as always, I will see y'all on the next video.
Let's go to the Santa Maria houses. Let's move to that location. Weapon case. Here. Over here. Head home at the southern station. Let's go to Plaza Rosa. By the Red Tower. go to the Red Tower. Go to Plaza Rosa. Let's go to the Santa Maria houses. Head home at the Old Town Hatch. A weapon case. Over here.